Wow, someone has eaten my mushrooms. It's mid-September. Though everything is still lush and green, there is a subtle hint of change in the air. Mornings are growing colder, often dipping into single digits. Berries have started to adorn trees and bushes, and with the increase in rain, mushrooms will soon carpet the forest floor. A few leaves have already begun to show off their yellow and red hues, hinting at the vibrant displays to come. I love the changing of the seasons. It always brings a sense of anticipation for what lies ahead. Will autumn be as breathtaking as last year? Will we see snow this winter? My favorite time of year is just around the corner, and the thought fills me with warmth and joy. Hello everyone. I came out to my local woods because last couple of days there were a lot of rain, so I thought I would give a chance for the mushrooms and fungi. And also I have a new toy to play with, a SONY A7C Mark II. I found these little seed, some moss and two tiny mushrooms which I really like, so that's where I set up my tripod and I try to do focus bracketing on them because my Samyang 135 1.8 lens with the macro extension tube still doesn't really give enough depth of field, and I like to keep the shallow depth of field, the blurred out of focus background. So the A7C Mark II is able to do focus bracketing. You just have to go to the drive mode and then scroll down and select focus bracketing. With focus bracketing you can set how narrow or wide your step should be, and you can go from 10 down to 1. 1 the narrowest, 4 is called the standard, and 10 the widest. And here you can set how many shots you would like to have in your bracket. So I'm going to go for 20. And if you go to the right, then you can set different kind of adjustment for your focus bracketing, like the order or exposure smoothing, which I'm not going to go for. My interval is going to be the shortest because I'm using electronic shutter, which doesn't introduce any kind of shaking or vibration, so I can go down to the shortest. If you use normal shutter, then I would recommend to go for a little bit longer period. And the last setting is where you want to save your bracket. I'm just going to leave it as a current folder, and let's go for it. I have found another nice little scene here. A mushroom is just emerging from the leaves, and I set up my tripod over here with the reflector I'm using to light up a little bit the stalk of the mushroom, and in this case I'm using 25 photos in the bracket, and hopefully it's going to turn out alright. The light is a little bit too harsh now. The sun is right above my head. It's 1:30 p.m. So I think I'm gonna call it a day, and I'm going to come back tomorrow morning around sunrise. Well, it's 6:45 a.m. The sun has just risen. You can see the lights on the tree canopy behind me. It's very chilly, only 5-6 degrees in Celsius. Just want to show you the 2 photos I took yesterday. With the first one I'm quite happy. The second one I'm not so sure about, but here they are before I disappear into the dark forest. Here is my little fella from yesterday. I think it has grown quite a bit since yesterday. So I'm gonna walk around and try to find the best angle to photograph it again. This time I think I'm going to go for a portrait orientation in the composition. I think the elongated mushroom, because it has grown a bit during the night, suits better in portrait orientation. What you can see that there are these little sticks hanging around the mushroom, and also I like to compose somehow this green moss to the right of the mushroom. So I think I'm gonna move a little bit to the left. Let's try that. So that looks much better. I just maybe need to move those little sticks from next to the mushroom. So f2.8, I'm not using a polarizer, but I'm gonna pop that on for the second shot. Okay, let's go for it. Unfortunately, this stack of images turned out to be unusable. I misfocused it, and the bracket started from the middle of the mushroom. Lesson learned. I always have to check after the bracketing has been finished. Wow, someone has eaten my mushrooms. The scene I photographed yesterday has completely disappeared. The moss is still there, but the 2 mushrooms cannot be found anywhere. So someone during the night was very hungry, came over and harvested my mushrooms. I think I have to find another composition with different mushrooms or fungi. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there are these 2 little fellas over here. One of them is a little bit more healthier, the other is just has some bites in it, but that's what I'm kind of considering to have a look at. Let's see if we can frame up something useful. Nope, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, I cannot get close to the mushrooms from any angles. It's it's not a nice composition, so I think I'm gonna abandon this one and look for something else. There is still not enough life in the woods, although the sun is getting higher and higher, but still to spot these tiny little fungi or mushrooms is just almost impossible. But I'm trying. Here is the proof that someone was here last night. Maybe a badger or something which likes to eat mushrooms. I found these puffy little fellas here in a dead tree trunk covered with moss. I think I'm gonna give them a try. They look interesting, and maybe I can try to introduce some additional light with reflectors and with my LED lights and make the composition a little bit more interesting. For this photo I don't even need a macro extension tube. I have enough magnification because the mushroom is quite big. It's filling the frame just enough. Here it is, the first composition. I added this light from a little bit behind to give a little bit of three-dimensionality because it creates contrast on the left side of the mushroom and also lights up a little bit the background. Let's see how it looks like. The light is getting stronger, but it's still good enough for doing some macro shots. In the woods there are also these kind of little pockets where the light cannot get into, and you can always find good lights in woods no matter what the weather looks like. In overcast it's obvious, but in overcast there are not much contrast, so you have to use maybe something to boost your contacts like an LED light or reflector. Oh, I just have found two mushrooms which are in a good location, so surrounded by some ferns and moss. There are a couple of those blue fellas over here. There are two here, but they're not that healthy. But this one is really nice, this one. And what I like that you have these, I don't know, is it a moss type of moss here? So I really prefer this pair, although this one is not healthy, but from that direction it looks alright, and that one is also obviously a really promising one. Alright, I'm gonna move over here with my tripod. Right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm gonna set my focus bracketing and I'm going to do 20 shots and just make sure I have electronic shutter selected. I'm focusing on the first mushroom, and hopefully as it progresses it's going to get the other one also into focus. Oh yeah, it looks beautiful. The next one is going to be the right one over here, and I'm shooting from this direction. So against the sun. I think I'm gonna use my reflector to bounce back a little bit of light onto the trunks of the mushroom, but you can't see. Let me spin you around a little bit. So this is my background, and it's gonna give a nice green color in the background, and also the light is coming from that direction, which I hope it's gonna create a little bit atmosphere. Here is my next composition. I really like this tiny mushroom trying to tower over those plants, mosses. I don't know what kind of species they are, but it just looks amazing. And the background is nice and blurred. I'm gonna go for, let's see, yeah, 20 shots with the narrowest settings for the bracket width, and obviously electronic shutter. All right, let's go for it. I hope I could show you some good tips regarding focus bracketing. If you learned something today, or you liked the video, then please don't forget to give me a like down below. And if you like the content of my channel, then subscribe. See you soon, and may the light be with you all.